Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. What we have seen previously, that will quickly revise it. It was related to your pointer to member and all, right? That what we have seen last time. We have seen the friend function, even how we are returning the object, right? And the pointers to members. This is what we have seen. Now the next topic is the constructor. What we are doing with this constructor and how we are using the constructor, why we are using the constructor in our program. I hope I'm audible to you guys. Once just say yes or no so we can continue our session. Am I audible?
जी मैम
Okay,
आप
fine.
ऑडिबल हो।
So here a constructor, okay, thanks. A constructor is a special member function whose task is to initialize the object of its class, right? And it is a special because its name would be same as your class name. Now, before watching this theory and all, I'll simply tell you why we are using the constructor by means of the program and all, right? Just taking some time. Till that, we'll see. The constructor is invoked whenever an object of its associated class is created. When the constructor will be called, if I'll say that when the function will be called, so you have to write the line of calling your function. So at that time your function will be called. But when your constructor will be called, whenever your object has been created for that particular class, at that time constructor will be called. So it is called the constructor. Why? Because it will construct the value of the data member of the class. It is constructing the value of your data member of the class, right? So say suppose I'm showing you this. I'm having one class A, right? Now I would be having the function, or I would be having some members first. Then in public section, I'm having function. Say suppose void get data, right? Integer a comma integer b. This is my what I'm using the function, okay? And the another function that is for void put data, that is simply for displaying the values. So see out kind of statement I can write over here, and I can show the value of m and n. This is what generally we are doing in put data. And what generally I'm doing in a get data function, I'm always initializing my member variables with some value. This is only the purpose of my get data. Yes or no? Right? So I'm writing m is equals to a and n is equals to b. This is what generally I'm doing. Okay. So this is what known as initialization kind of thing. And for this, from my integer main, what I need to do is, first of all, I need to create the object. So let's say suppose my class name is A and I'm creating the object that is small a. Now if I want to initialize some values to my m and n, directly it is not possible. So via indirect way, through my function, I can initialize the value. So I need to call my function with the use of object, that is a dot get data, and now I'm setting my value 10 comma 20. This is what I'm doing. Yes or no? If this is only my single object, if say suppose I'm having many more objects, say suppose 50 objects, A1, A2 till A50, right? I need to write this line 50 times, or I need to call this function 50 times get data. Okay, yes or no? Fine. So I'll write that A1 dot get data, same way A2 dot get data, and something like this 50 times. So this is what I'm explicitly calling my function just for initializing the value. So here the constructor will come into the picture to eliminate this thing. What I'm saying is constructor will be invoked automatically when you are creating the object. So whenever I'm creating my object, at that time only my constructor will be called, and such kind of functions are not required. Instead of that, such kind of lines like m is equals to a and n is equals to b, that I'll write into the my constructor. So this is nothing but my constructor. The constructor name is very special as your class name. So again we will see the theory, again we will come back to this example only. Fine. So somehow you are getting why it is required. Why it is required. So I don't want to explicitly call my functions. Instead of that, this initialization of the my data members, this kind of task I can perform via constructor. So again we'll see what is the constructor. So here is my constructor is a special member function whose task is to initialize the objects of its class. It is a special because its name is same as the class name. Say suppose here my class name is A, so my constructor name is A. Here if my class name is simple, my constructor name will be simple. Whatsoever my class name, that would be my constructor name. Okay. The constructor is invoked whenever an object of its associated class is created, right? So whenever I'm creating the object, at that time only the constructor will be invoked. It is called the constructor. Why the name is constructor? Because it is constructing the data members. It is creating the object. So whenever we are creating the object, what will happen? First, it will actually occupy the memory in the memory space, right? They are actually getting the space in memory whenever the object has been created. And the second task, by the constructor I am initializing those values. So two tasks I am doing only in the single line, right? That is why they are known as constructor. Okay. Then the main job of the constructor is to allocate the memory for the class object. This is my normal constructor example with the syntax I'm showing you. This is my class integer. They are having two variables m and n. Now I'm having my constructor with no argument, right? So how I can initialize the values to this m and n? So I can simply write 0 and 0. Okay. This is what the constructor they have defined outside of the class. So how I can write my function outside of the class? Say suppose this is my void and the put data, that is my function. If I want to write this function outside of the class, how I can write it? Just need to add the label. Say suppose this is my class A, right? Or I'm writing right now integer only, so I don't need to change it again and again. Small integer, fine. So what should be my constructor name? Small integer. And here I need to write integer cop resolution operator and the put data. This is how I can write my function outside of the class. So same way how I can define my constructor outside of the class. So what I need to do is I'll simply write integer, and here right now I'm writing no argument constructor. Okay. So what I can do is I just have to put in front of my constructor name my class name. Though my class name and the constructor name, they both are the same one, right? Always. So what I'm doing is control V, then scope resolution operator, and then this is my constructor name. Fine. So whenever I'm not passing any arguments, this is known as no argument constructor. No argument constructor, or you can say default constructor. So here I'm just assigning this with zeros. Something I need to do, right? So I'm just assigning my MNN with 0 because no value has been passed, right? So this is how I can define my constructor outside. Say suppose here my class name is A. What I need to write, whatever my constructor name that is same as my class name. So I'll put over here A, and now what is my class name? A. So over here also I would be having A. So this is A, scope resolution operator, again A, this is my constructor. Getting this thing correctly, yes or no? At least 1 or 2% write down so I can get to know you are
Yes, ma'am.
getting the things.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, okay. Fine, fine. Thank you. So when a class that contains a constructor like whatsoever I've defined above, that is guaranteed that it will create your, whenever you are creating your object by the class, that will be initialized automatically. So this is only the benefit of the constructor, that here I'll simply write my constructor, and here I'm writing my void put data, right? This is what I'm just declaring, right? Definition is outside of the class. This is my class A. So whenever I'm creating my object by just writing this line A, small a, semicolon. So this is what we are doing. This is nothing but creation of the object. And whenever you are creating your object, at that time automatically constructor will be called. So there's no argument, constructor will be called, and your value of m and n will be 0 automatically. Or even if you are writing over here m of 10 and n of 10, so any static value. So here by default for this object A, your value of m and n is 10 and 10. And I don't want now void get data kind of functions, because by the constructor only I am initializing my values. So why I need void get data function now? So I am eliminating those kind of functions, and instead of that I'm writing over here, just I'm writing my object creation line, and this constructor will be automatically called. Fine. So whenever I'm writing like integer, because here my class name is integer, right? So whenever I'm writing integer and int1, so maybe I'm creating my object with the name int1. So at that time this constructor will be called. So here not only we are creating the object, but we are also initializing its data member m and n with the 0. And there is no need to write any statement to call the constructor function. This will be called automatically. You don't have to write any separate function call, explicit call. You don't have to write. It will called automatically. So what is the default constructor? The constructor that accept no argument, that is known as default constructor. And the default constructor for A is that how I can write like this, that is this. What I have shown in my example also, this is my default constructor, because in my constructor no parameter has been passed. Okay. If no such constructor is defined, this is most important to understand. if no such constructor is defined, then the compiler supplies a default constructor. Therefore, the statement like a and small a, if you have written and you haven't provided any default constructor, then it will invoke a default constructor of a compiler to create the object a. So what will happen if I'm not providing this? Because see, we have seen lot many programs with the class and object. Whenever you are creating any of the object, at that time default constructor will be called automatically if you have not provided the default constructor. So in this chapter 4, in this unit 4, I have created all the programs with the use of class and object. I have created object of that class, but I was not knowing, I was not aware of the word constructor. So I haven't provided any of the default constructor, right? Have I? No, we haven't provided. So by default, compiler will provide the default constructor, and that constructor is something like this. This is your constructor, opening, closing. So that's it. This is your default constructor. If you are not writing anything, then this will be provided by your compiler. Fine. I hope you are getting the things.
Yes, ma'am.
Michelle, that is maybe because of your network, right? Because at my side it is clear. I mean, my network is coming exactly. I mean, so many of you are getting my voice, I mean, my cutting voice, but many of you are getting my clear cut voice. So that is a network issue at your end, maybe. Fine, because whatsoever the network I'm having, that is this only. And I'm sitting exactly at the place where I'm sitting daily for my all the lectures. Fine. Okay. So here, this will invoke a default constructor of a compiler to create the object A. A default constructor is so important for initialization of the object members that even if we do not define a constructor explicitly, the compiler will provide a default constructor implicitly. Okay? Getting this thing? If you are not providing, compiler will provide it. Fine? Now here, default constructor example. Here I have taken one class cube. In that I have taken my variable as a public because I directly want to print that from integer main. That is why. Okay. Cube is what? My constructor. How you will identify it? How you will get to know that okay, this what you have written, that is constructor. So you need to check that first thing, constructor will not be having any return type. Fine. Here it is not written as void cube. You don't have to write any return type. Void, integer, float, character, boolean. No return type for the constructor. And your constructor name would be same as your class name. So here if you have taken cube, here also you are writing cube because this is your constructor, and constructor name would be same as your class name. And here I am writing side is equals to 10. So this is nothing but my default constructor, right? This is my default constructor, this cube and this all, right? Now in integer main, I'm creating the object of my cube class. So I'm writing cube C. So what will happen at this time, the memory for your integer side variable that will be created because you are creating the object now, and we just learned that whenever you are creating your object, at that time only for that class's data members actual physical memory will be occupied. So here the side will get 4 bytes because this is your integer, right? Now after writing this statement, two things is happening. One is You are creating the object means your variables are getting the physical space, right? Physical space will be occupied to this, and at the same time your default constructor will be called, invoked automatically. So you have provided over here the default constructor, so side is equals to 10. So this is the thing, right? But if you are not providing anything, then compiler will provide it by default, and it will assign it with the 0. Okay, so you will get in c dot side, that is 0. So in this case, if the default constructor is not provided, then it can be provided by the compiler, and it will be called, which will initialize the object data members to your default value. So you have default value, you have given side is equals to 10, so the 10 will be provided to you, and here it will be printed the value is 10. I hope you are getting, yes or no? Fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Now the special characteristics of the constructor. What kind of characteristics it is having, right? The constructor is having such special characteristics. They should be declared in a public section. So we did that. We have given this into our public section. They are invoked automatically when the objects are created. So that what I said, whenever you are creating your object cube C, at that time only this will be called. And whenever you will print that your side value is already 10, which is already assigned at the time of your object creation, right? So they are invoked automatically when the objects are created. They do not have return types, not even the void. They don't have any return type. Therefore, they cannot return the values, of course. So you cannot write like this, like here. Like integer c, and c is equals to a plus b, and now you can return c. Such kind of statements you cannot write in your constructor, right? You can't write anything into the constructor, so this will give you an error only, right? This will give you an error. Why we are using constructor? The main goal is what you are assigning, or you are initializing your data members. So you are just initializing variables over here, which what you are doing in your void get data kind of function. In void get data, what I used to do, I'm just assigning my variables. So that kind of special different function I don't want to take, and I don't want to call. Instead of that, I'll use the constructor for assigning, or even you can write some cout kind of statement, like you are right now in constructor. Such kind of statement you can write. Okay, so that is allowed. Cout kind of statements. But our main goal is what? To initialize our data members. This you have to remember. Fine. Then they can't be inherited, though a derived class can call the base class constructor. So here you haven't learned yet what is inheritance, that we will see in our 6th unit, right? But right now what I can say is, whatever I said, that whatsoever the properties are there with your parent, they will come into the child class if they are in the public section, right? Whatsoever is written into the public section, they will be there by default in your child class. Okay, so for example, your father's property is there, right? So it will be inherited to you, I mean, because you are his child, that is why. But constructors are the one, they cannot be inherited. So if your parent class is having any constructor, that will not be inherited to you in your class. but you can still call that. You can call that, you can access that, you can use that, but they will not come to you. You have to go to there and you can use it, you can come back. Getting this? Because not more than this I can tell you, right? Because you have not seen what is inheritance, so I cannot explain you, but I can give you the real time example of father and child, right? And I can explain you. Fine. Next is like other C++ functions, they can have the default arguments also, right? So say suppose you have seen what is the default argument in your unit 3, right? You can give the default argument at the rightmost side of your formal parameters of your function, right? The same thing even you can provide to your constructor. You can even give your default arguments to your constructor. You can even omit any of the number of argument, right? And you can provide some default argument. Then the constructor cannot be virtual, though it is written over here. Meaning of the virtual you won't get because that is your 7th unit. Fine. So I'll explain it at that time, right? Then we cannot refer their addresses. We cannot refer the addresses of the constructor, though this thing you can do with the functions, right? Function pointer you can generate, but you cannot generate the constructor pointer, right? That you can't do. An object with a constructor or a destructor, they cannot be used as a member of union, though we are not using the union and structure in C++, though they are available. You can still create structure and union in C++, but we are having more powerful feature, that is class. So that is why we are not using union and structure over here. But if you are using, then an object with the constructor cannot used as a member of union. You cannot use it as a member of union, right? Then they can make the implicit call to the operator new and delete when the memory allocation is required. Fine. So here automatically there is the implicit call, right? A new operator. Why? Because whenever there would be a dynamic initialization of your constructor, fine, new word is there. That is why they are creating dynamically memory allocation. They are doing this because by just a constructor call, implicitly new keyword is associated with it. That is why they are creating actual physical memory space, na? Otherwise, how they can do this? Just by creating the object, like cube C. How the integer side is getting the physical memory automatically. So that is the thing, right? The whenever your constructor will be called, right? Whenever your object has been created, the new keyword is associated with it. So dynamically it will generate the memory for this integer side, and now you are assigning some initialized value like side is equals to 10 to this object for this particular integer side. So if I'm having C1, C2, C3, three objects, so respectively, they all three are having the same value 10, 10, 10. Getting this thing? So new keyword is associated with it. That is why runtime, I mean, whenever we are creating the object runtime, at that time only my data members are actually getting the physical space of the memory. And same way that is for the destructor. Whenever you are writing the destructor, at that time only the delete keyword is associated with it, and it will free up your memory which is created by the new operator. Okay, I hope you are getting things, though it is difficult to understand somehow, but you can pay attention because see, now onwards every topic will be somehow important and difficult to understand. The level of difficulty will be increased, of course. You have seen the C language, when you have seen, okay, what is printf and what is scanf, it is so easy. What is the operator? It is so easy. But when you will move on to the next units, when the structure will come, when the pointer will come, the difficulty level will be increased. So the same way in C++ also, whenever we'll see the fifth unit, we'll see the sixth unit, the level of difficulty will be increased. So you have to pay more attention. Okay? Fine. Now we are having the parameterized constructor, that what I've written at very first, right? I can write m is equals to a and the n is equals to b. So whatsoever the value I'm passing, right, that will be assigned whenever my object has been created. So the constructor can be used to initialize various data members of the different objects with different values. But here what's happening? Here what is happening? If I'm writing over here like this m is equals to 0 and the n is equals to 0. So what will happen if I'm creating one object a1, so value of m and n will be 0 and 0. Fine. When I'm creating a2, they are also having the same value for m and n, 0 and 0. a3, again same. But generally we know that we want some different values, right? So I don't have this default constructor every time. Instead of that, I'll create one parameterized constructor. So user can give any of the value over here like 5 and 10. Second time they are giving 10 and 20. Third time they are giving 50 and 60. Just like your function, huh? Just like your function, you can give this. So I would be having over here the parameterized constructor whose value would be integer. It would be having this data type. So I'm having integer x, comma, integer y, something like this. So I would be having this m is equals to x and the n is equals to y, right? So whatsoever the user have passed, here x is equals to 5, y is equals to 10 for my object number 1, that is a1. So for a1 object, it is assigned as 5 and here it is 10. Yes or no? This is for my one object. Now whenever my second object has been created a2, for that it is assigned as 10 and 20. So these are the different values whatsoever the user is passing. So A1 is having 510, A2 is having 1020, A3 is having 5060. So all three objects are having the different values. That is why I have created parameterized constructor. Fine. So C++ will permit us to achieve this objective by passing the arguments to the constructor function when the objects are created. So we are having the constructor that can take the argument are called the parameterized constructor. So here it is not, meaning is not that only two parameters, so it is known as the parameterized constructor. You can understand in function also I can pass one parameter, two parameter, 3, 4, 5, 6, as many as I want. So here also I could be having the parameterized constructor, maybe only one parameter. I can even have two parameter. I can even have three parameters. Fine. I can have 4, 5, 6. As many as number of parameters are possible. Okay. So it is not like that only two parameters I can take and then only then it is known as parameterized constructor. No. If any of the parameter is there, then it is known as parameterized constructor. If no parameter is there, it means that it is known as no argument constructor, or you can say default constructor. Fine. If no parameter, blank, void. Getting this? So here the same example has been taken, class integer, integer m comma n, into this public section, integer x comma integer y. So this is nothing but my parameterized constructor who is having two arguments. Name of this is the same as my class name, so the constructor name will same. I am just declaring it, and now I'm defining it outside of the class. So I can write my class name over here, which is integer, then scope resolution operator, and then integer of integer x comma integer y. So what I'm doing is this m is equals to x, whatsoever the user have passed, and this n is equals to y. That's it. So simple. Just you can imagine over here you are having void get data function, right? Instead of that, you are writing your constructor. Meaning is same, right? So when the parameterized constructor has been defined, this will not work. Integer int1. So here you are not passing any kind of argument. So what will be called each and every time default constructor. But if you are passing the parameter, then and only then the parameterized constructor will be called. No? So we must pass the initial values as the argument to the constructor function when the object has been created. So this can be done by two different ways. Both the ways are the correct one. It is not like that the first one is the correct one and second one is not correct. Both the ways are correct. So how you can write it? I'm demonstrating this right now, right? This is my class A, okay? And here I'm creating the object. So say suppose I'm writing A, small a, so I'm creating the object. If I'm writing semicolon, it means this will call my default constructor. This will not call my parameterized constructor as I have not passed any parameter. So how it can call? So if I'm writing like this 5 comma 10, then and only then they will get to know now, okay, I need to call the parameterized constructor. So they will find the match, right? Integer and integer, just like your function overloading and your function, how the function will be called, they will match the parameters. Okay, two different parameters are there, integer, so I can take that over here, integer and integer, that will be matched, and 5 and 10 will be passed over here. 5 and 10, fine, and that I am assigning to my data member, which is mnn. Fine. So always into the constructor, a very simple tip I am giving you, that you have to write your data members at the left hand side, and you have to write your whatsoever the formal parameters, that is at the right hand side. Many of the times in a paper I have seen such kind of things. Just look at over here. X is equals to m, y is equals to m. Now, what is the meaning of this? I really don't get it why the people are writing like this. X is equals to m and y is equals to n. Means I am assigning my formal parameters x and y with my data member m and n. This is total disaster. So I am giving you the tip. Maybe in hurry you are doing such kind of mistake. That is why I am saying that always write whatsoever your data member is with you. So you are having the data member m and n, so you are writing m and n. Now you are assigning with your formal parameters. So m is equals to x, n is equals to y. Fine. So simple to write your constructor. Okay. And the second way is what? I can write by my explicit call. So what I'm writing is over here. Again I'm creating the same a semicolon. Now I am doing a is equals to a of 5 comma 10. This will also do the same task. This will also do the same, but this is I have explicitly called. Just like my a dot get data of 5 and 10. I need to write the explicit statement to call this function. Same way I have written the explicit statement for calling of my constructor. Or you can even write like this. Here only you can write like this. A of 5 comma 10. A, then A is equals to again A and 5 comma 10. These are the two different methods. if I'll talk about the integer class, because here the capital A and small a, if you are getting confusion, then I'm writing again, this is for my integer class. Say suppose my class is integer 1, I'm creating my first object I1. So how I can write by the explicit call integer I1 is equals to again I1, and now I'm passing 5 comma 10. Same task I can do with the implicit call like this integer. Whenever I am creating my object, at that time only I am writing 5 comma 10. So this both the ways are the correct one. You can use any of this, but this is known as explicit call, and this is known as implicit call. I used to have this, right? I used to have the practice of this implicit call, but you can even write the explicit call. Both are the valid. Now see the syntax. By calling the constructor explicitly, by calling the constructor implicitly. Integer int1, you can take any of the object name, right? A, B, C, D, that is up to you. int1 is equals to integer of, right? Sorry, I need to write over here integer of, I did the mistake. Sorry for that. In hurry, right? You have to write the class name over here, integer of, and you can pass 5 comma 10. So that is also valid, right? Or else, why you have to write again the class name and then the parameters? Instead of that, what you can write directly like this. So that is the shortest one, implicit call, right? So this is your implicit call. Getting this thing? Yes or no? I'm just making it correct with the capital A. Okay. Hope there is no doubt in this. So the second method is also known as the shortened method. This is implicit. Implicit call method is known as shortened. I don't have to write a long statement. Shortened method or a shorter one, it looks better and it's easy to implement. So I used to write like this. I don't have the practice of this explicit call, right? Fine. So you could be having a multiple constructor into your class. It is not like that you have only parameterized constructor with two, or you would be having only default constructor. You can have a default constructor as well as you are having two parameterized, you are having three parameterized, you are having two parameterized, but the different data types of your formal parameter, that is also possible. So this is nothing but you can say that this is constructor overloading. Yes or no? Same way like your function overloading. In function overloading, the function name is same, your parameter, your different parameters are the different one, either it is in a number of argument or the data type of that argument maybe, right? So the same way you are having all the different kind of constructor, but they could not be similar, otherwise the function or otherwise your compiler will have doubt on which constructor I need to call. So whenever the compiler is having any doubt to call which constructor I need to call, at that time they will raise an error. Same like your function overloading, same. Their function name is same. Here we are having the constructor name is same. Nothing new in that, right? So this is no argument, this is two arguments. So in first case, the constructor itself supply the data values and no values are being passed. So here in function only, sorry, here in the constructor only, I'm writing m is equals to 10 and the m is equals to 10. So m and n, both the values I'm giving some statically. But whatsoever the object then I'll create, all the values will remain same. But if I want the different values, I need to take the parameterized constructor. So in second case, the function call passes the appropriate value from the main, and C++ will permit us to use both the constructor into the same case and the same program. So this is the program that I have written. But I'll directly show you in the call docs, right? Till we are having 10 minutes and we will be able to finish. First, I'm showing you the normal constructor program, fine, and then the overloaded constructor program. First, I'm showing you I'm showing you normal constructor program. Okay, this is what we have seen as an example, right? This is your class integer. Here you are having two variables m comma n. Here into the public section you have just declared this is your constructor. Here I'm showing you the parameterized constructor example. Okay, so integer int comma int, how I can write or how I can define my constructor outside of the class. So first is my class name. So here is my class name, scope resolution operator, then my constructor, and then integer x comma integer y. What I used to do in my constructor, I'm just assigning my values. So m and n, m is equals to x, n is equals to y. This is what I've explained, nothing new in that. Now from my integer main, this is what my integer class name. I'm creating my object. I can even take a smaller name, that is I1. Okay, and I'm passing 0 and 100. So 0 for m, 100 for n. This is how I've called my constructor implicitly. So whenever I'm creating this I1, two things will be happen. First, yet variable m and n is not having any physical space into the memory. But whenever I'm creating the object, this will be assigned, or these two variables will get the physical space like 4 bytes and 4 bytes for the integer one. Now at the same time, I am calling my constructor, which is my parameterized constructor. So here, if I'm not giving any of the value, then by default, it is a blank one right now, right? My m and n are the blank one. But at the same time, I'm calling my parameterized constructor, and they will assign the value whatsoever I passed from integer main. So I have passed 0 and 100. So 0 and 100 will be there in m and n respectively, right? And here I have shown you the second use, that is the explicitly how you can write. So integer I2 is equals to integer 25 and 75. So for my second object, my value for m and n is 25 and 75, which will be initialized. So the same thing I'm just showing by my display method. In generally into the put data or display method, what I'm showing is I'm just writing the cout statement. The value of m and n is this. That's it. So for object 1, I'm doing I1.display, and for object 2, I'm doing I2.display, right? I'll save this and I'll run this. First time it will take some time. Okay. So here you can see object 1, value of m and n is 0 and 100. For object 2, the value of m and n is 25 and 75. That's it. This is what all about my constructor. So instead of void get data, I have written my parameterized constructor, right? The code is same, just like your get data. Now I'm showing you the constructor overloading. Overloaded constructor. Here what I did, I've taken my one class that is known as complex. In that I'm having float variables x and y. These are my real and imaginary variables. So in mathematical terms, you are used to write like this, x plus jy. Isn't it something like this in the mathematical term? So here your x is a real and y is the imaginary one, something like that. Okay. So here I am having more than one constructor. Have you seen this? And what is my constructor name? Same as my class name, right? So here I am having no argument constructor. In that I'm just passing x is equals to 0 and y is equals to 0. Here into this complex, I'm just passing my single parameter, one argument constructor, where I'm assigning x is equals to y is equals to a. So both x and y is having the same value whatsoever the user have passed. In third two parameterized constructor, this is the third constructor who is having two parameters. So I'm assigning this x is equals to real, y is equals to imaginary, whatsoever the user will give. Now I'm having two functions. One is summation. Means what I'm doing is, see, I would be having lot many objects. Say suppose I've created C1 and C2 objects over here. C1 is having its x value, which is say suppose 5.2, and C2 is having its value of x, that is say suppose 6.7, right? Same way it is having the y is equals to 2.4 or 3.4, something like this, and here y is equals to something like 8.9, whatsoever it is. Now I want to do the summation of this x of C1 and this x of C2. Same way I want to do the summation of y from C1 and C2. So now you are getting, I am doing the summation of two different classes variable, or you can say data member. So I need the friend function over there, yes or no? Two different, I mean, I'm having my same class but two different objects, right? C1 and C2, two different objects, and I'm relating their data and I'm doing some mathematical computation between them two. Okay, so two different objects C1 and C2 from the complex class, and I'm taking over here friend function, which is sum, which will do the summation between my complex C1 and complex C2, two different objects, and it will return the data into the complex. So I've taken the return type. Same way void show, that will simply print whatsoever the value of this summation, right? Now I'll look over here, summation the complex C1 comma, here I'm having complex C2. Now in complex C3, this is I'm taking another variable. I've already shown you that, say suppose I'm taking integer C. Then next I'm doing C is equals to A plus B. Then what I'm doing, I'm writing that return C. So that is very similar to this. I'm taking the third variable. So I'm taking the third object, that is C3. Then in this C3 dot x, I'm adding the C1 dot x plus C2 dot x. Same way for the y I am doing, and finally I am returning my object, that is C3. It is of type complex, so that is why my return type is complex, right? Yes or no? I hope you are getting the things. Now in void show, what I am doing, C dot x, C dot y. I'll simply show their x and y parameter. That's it. Now from integer main, I'm calling three different kind of constructor. So first time I'm writing complex A of 2.7, 3.5. So it will call two parameterized constructor, yes or no, because it is having two parameters. Now I'm passing one parameter, so both x and y will be having 1.6, 1.6. This is my second object B. This is my third object, which is no argument constructor. So x and y will be 0 and 0 by default. Now what I'm doing is C is equals to sum of A comma B. So I'm doing the summation of A, B, and I'll store it in C. So this function will return some value which will be stored in this. And now I'm showing show of A, show of B, show of C. So all the parameters of XY, XY, XY will be shown, right? I'll delete this, otherwise I will not be able to run the program. Now I'll run this program. What I'm getting as an output. See, here I'm having my A, which is having two variable 2.7, 3.5 for x and y. Same way for B, I am having 1.6, 1.6. Both the values are same, right? One parameterized constructor. And see, first time when it was assigned with 0, 0 values, and now I'm storing the summation of this two, means 2.7 plus 1.6, so it is 4.3. Then 3.5 plus 1.6, it is 5.1. Simple. And this J is there because I have written into the C out, right? and display in this show function, I have written this j just to show you that the cy is your imaginary part. Fine. So I have just added this j, nothing else. Right. So I hope this thing is clear to you guys, and we'll stop our session over here only. I hope there is no doubt. At least say yes or no. I mean, any doubt in this? Default constructor and parameterized
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
constructor. We will. Okay. Fine, fine. And we will see one more constructor, that is copy constructor, that in our next session. Fine. Okay, so you can just write down your enrollment number and you may leave. Thank you all.